Here we go, here we go. Yo, we on another episode of Dance Talk. I'm here with the OG himself. The man is out here doing a lot of ill stuff still to this day, and at the same time, he definitely has an inspiring story that may shock a lot of y'all. I hope y'all strapped in and ready to listen. And here we go. I'm here to introduce to y'all Bussout.
What's up? Bless everyone, bless.
Alright, so we're going to start at the genesis of this whole thing. Tell the world your first name.
First name is Dameion.
Alright, Dameion, tell us what was home like? What's your household like when you were growing up as an adolescent? Mother, father, sister, and brother, what's the relationship like?
Growing up, being open and honest wasn't the best life. I actually grew up in a household with severe child abuse, having to lie to cops, trying to keep my mom out of jail, saying that, the child abuse wasn't true. Family was never really close. I can't really say that someone said like happy birthday. We didn't really say, like I love you as much. Eventually my mom would put my brother into a group home, sign him over to the state, and she would also sign my sister over to the state as well. I do have two other sisters who came after, and those sisters basically stayed with their dad after my mom and my step-pops, which is their dad, decided to separate.
Okay, so what was your relationship like with your father?
Oh boy, man. We're about to dive into this interview. Alright, so I didn't have a relationship with my dad because I grew up all my life hearing that my dad had died. I heard that he was killed by like a gang in Jamaica. So when I came to the US at the age of 4, adolescent school days was really tough for me. I remember when Mother's Day would come up, I'd make my Mother's Day card just like the other kids, but I remember when Father's Day came up, I was still making Mother's Day cards because I basically, presumed that my father had gotten killed. Fast forward in a bit, my mom went to Jamaica. When she went to Jamaica to bring my brother and my sister up here, because originally I'm the only child out of my grandfather's grandchildren who came to America because I needed surgery on my eye because I was born with cataracts.
Okay.
So when my mom had gone back to Jamaica to bring my sister and brother up to the US, she was walking into a restaurant. A guy was walking out of the restaurant. They bumped into each other, and when she looked up, it was my dad, and my mom pretty much fainted on the spot.
Sheesh.
Right, so the following year I would go down to Jamaica and met my dad for the first time, but he was more concerned about getting into my mom's pants, even though at the time he knew that she was a married woman. Back in the US, he never explained to me why he faked his death. He never apologized. Is like he just wanted to, I wouldn't even say like pick up, because like I said, he wasn't really interested in getting to know me. I returned back to America, and when I returned back to America, I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I basically told myself that Dance was my father. This is why.
All right, wait. Before we get there. All right, so you're an original rude boy from Yard.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now we get the dynamic of how you were raised with your household. Now, what is life like for you as you go into the world? What is the impact on the world on your life versus your impact on the world? What is that like? And as you're living in the States, where exactly are you living? Where are you raised?
Right now we're coming at you from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey, another Brooklyn night.
Yeah, Brooklyn night. The way that the world has impacted me. Growing up, I would say that it was a negative way, because of the fact that my life was consumed with waking up and probably going to school and coming home. So home was pretty much my world. Because love wasn't abundant in my home. Love is abundant within my heart. It's abundant within my soul. If love could have an image, I would like it to have my image.
Okay.
You know, because I believe that love is what the world need, right? You can love someone, and you can be direct with someone, but you know, like, it isn't necessarily directness is not a mean thing, because if you truly love someone, you should tell someone how it is, you know.
All right, so what's life like in the streets of Brooklyn as a youngster? What does Brooklyn look like? Because Brooklyn now is totally different from Brooklyn back then.
Oh man, listen, I remember not being able to separate myself from dance. I remember back in the days, we would have house parties. I remember when house parties were free. Then I remember when people started charging like anywhere from $1 to $5 for a house party. The flyers were pretty much loose leaf paper. They would write house party, blah blah blah, the time, right, and that would be the flyer, and they would basically just hand them out on the block and like hand them out in the projects, right? I remember not having like money to get into the house party, and I remember I was determined to dance. I was determined to be up in this house party, and I remember walking and I found like, I think like 2 bags of weed on the floor, and I went to this party and they told me, you know, how much it was to get in, and I was just like, I don't have any money, but I have this. They just pulled me into the house party, man. yo, man, they just pulled me to the house party, and you know, like, and by the grace of God, you know, like, you know, or the Most High, I actually became friends with the person who the apartment had belonged to.
Okay.
And because I danced like so much and represented so well, after that I was free to all for house parties.
All right. So now, I mean, I don't want to get so deep into any type of like violence or anything of that nature, but I do understand that Brooklyn in the 90s was very rough.
Indeed.
The infiltration of gang culture, so much is going on. And one time I heard a story from another dancer. He told me that, and this may be during your dance years, but I just want to just will it in a little bit just to give people an idea that there was one time they said that I guess some dudes try to run up on you, and the dancer told me that he doesn't seen you do damage in a way. You know what I mean? In the streets of Flatbush, where it's just like, growing up, you definitely knew how to defend yourself.
Indeed, man. Indeed. Like, life now, to the generation of now, you are living a luxurious life. You're living a luxurious life. I've had guns pulled to my head because of the fact that I outdanced someone, and I couldn't understand that. Like, seriously, like me battling someone, right? And battling is a part of the culture. It will always be a part of the culture, but it does not have to turn to violence.
Correct.
Right?
I agree.
Right? You know what it's like. Battling is almost like role playing. When you're in that battle, you're like this. You know, like you're coming at the person. Yo, but after the battle is over, yeah, man, good stuff, bro, good stuff. You know,
The sportsmanship.
yeah, you know, but yeah, man, I'm talking about, and this is all while I'm under the age of 18, man. It's like you know, begging and sneaking into these clubs and battling someone, and basically the person's girlfriend basically is bigging me up. The person gets mad, the person leaves, the person comes back, and the person puts a gun to my head in the party.
Sheesh.
And say, "Pussy boy, move." You know.
Wow.
You know, like, yo, man.
All right. So, matter of fact, so let's get into it. Where did dancing find you? Where did you find dancing? And how old were you? Like, let's take it off. Let's go.
All right. When I first started dancing, from what my family has told me, was in Jamaica a little while before I came to the U.S. So I was 3.5 or 4 years old.
Okay.
And basically, that's when, like, I actually remember watching, you know, like, the Rastafarians, you know, basically just like standing up with their Guinness in their hand and just doing this.
Nice little two-step.
Yeah,
ride.
you know, like skanking and all that. And as a kid, I used to mimic that.
Okay.
Right? Now, when I came to America, like, you know, that part of me was gone. I didn't have anything to look at, anything to like mimic. I would say it was probably, I remember joining a modern dance class when I was probably like 12 years old, and it was, you know, like, it was a new way to like move.
Okay.
Right? And honestly, I mean, just putting it out there, I think I joined it because they had some hot girls up in there. You know, and like, yo, it's like we got to like lift them and twirl them, you know, like, and things like that, right? But two members